This year's 2026 Reptile Supershow was crazy. In the beginning, I managed to just take some pictures or a picture of that mini pony. I couldn't get a good video clip, but at this point, I had already done my full rounds. I wanted to go in and just, shop with what I needed, as you can see in the little cart that I had right there. This time I actually came prepared and brought a cart. Um, I knew I wanted to buy some things, but I just wasn't sure yet. It was more of a just in the moment kind of deal, but I went prepared regardless. There was a lot of people in the show. I went on Saturday last week, so this video might be a little on the later side. I'm sure y'all have seen so many videos by now, but there was a ton of people, and so I chose to walk around with a cart, in mind. I know I was going to be carrying a lot of stuff, but as I was walking around, I took a peek of everything. There was just so many people that it was really hard to record. And, I had my phone in one hand. I wasn't planning to, but I was like, you know what, let me take advantage of this opportunity and just kind of get some video footage for those who couldn't attend. I just kept walking past, a bunch of booths. At this point, like I said, I was kind of, I had seen what I wanted to, but I thought about you guys and I was like, oh, maybe, somebody else wants to see. So it was just a bunch of snakes. I don't really know too much about the snake, the morphs, and all that stuff. Um, I looked, there was some crazy leopard gecko. As you can see, that was a derminal monitor, some type of monitor. I'm sure you can see it in the video. A bunch of leopard geckos, different colors. There were so many, I could not even keep track of how many different morphs there is. It's kind of crazy how many colors can be produced just from one animal. Chameleon, I believe. I was just admiring a bunch of the setups. I try to get as much footage as I could. That way you can enjoy and get maybe some inspiration. Oh, that little lizard was actually pretty cool. I didn't end up seeing what kind it was. Praying mantis, and yeah, there was a lot. Somebody ended up buying one of those. I believe it's a spider tortoise. I'm not too sure. I don't remember. I'll double check, but I think it's like a spider tortoise. But somebody ended up taking that one that got picked up. And here I'm just driving my car around. I wanted to keep it in front of me because I was thinking that there were so many people that a little kid might have just stuck their hand in there. This is one of the largest geckos, the Leachianus gecko, and they just had a full like stack of them. They were pretty big. They were about maybe like a foot long. I'm not really sure. They were massive geckos. I was pretty shocked on how big they actually are in person. And we're gonna jump on over to the aquarium show. So it basically it's in Pomona at the Pomona Fairplex, and they had four shows going on. They had the reptile show, they had an aquarium show, they had a bird show, they even had, I believe it was a terrarium plant show, something like that. It's just a bunch of plants. I didn't end up having enough time to go to that one. But here, it definitely was way better in this part of the show, as the room was definitely more air conditioned and it was way smaller as well. So it felt great coming into the aquarium side of things. And here was just a bunch of like panda cory cats, bunch of little handlers, guppies, stuff like that, shrimp. I really uh I really tried to get the best footage that I could, but it's just was so much. And at that point, I just wanted to kind of take advantage and just take it all in for myself. That looks to be a frag tank, bunch of corals and stuff, pond plants. They had a bunch of plants for ponds. This area was really cool, just because I do have a pond, so I definitely spent a lot of time here. I wish I would have spent time talking to the fellows over there, just to kind of get some more ideas and maybe even talk about how I can improve mine. It was just more pond plants. There was a bunch of little kois in those stock tanks with, the water hyacinth, the water lettuce. These were all just a bunch of betas, just different colors. That one was really nice. that white and red combo. Really, really beautiful. I really like that one as well. Pretty pricey. I didn't think there was a market for beta fish like that. There so many colors, and the prices, they went up. I guess in any hobby, if it has a lot of color, people actually would spend enough money, especially if they're a species of animal that they're really interesting. Betas, I mean, there can only be housed typically, like if you're doing a males, like with just one male. I've seen tanks where they do kind of like a all female tank, but it's just a lot of females, and the only reason it does work is just the sheer number of animals in the tank. Obviously they have to be in a big enough tank where you can have a lot, but it helps dilute the aggression. This was a bunch of shell dweller cichlids. That was really, really cool seeing those in person. I've never seen them in person. They had a bunch of shells in there, and I guess they all live and breed inside those shells, I think. For sure, I've seen some videos where they have babies, and the babies are the ones who mostly live inside the shell, as it's usually big enough where it can fit a lot of them. Over here, we finally came on over to the bird show, which was also pretty cool to see so many colorful birds. You had conures, parakeets, lovebirds, canaries. I think I said that right. Hopefully, I did. It's just a lot of different birds. I am not really too familiar with birds whatsoever. um I could tell on some of them that they are like, your basics, your parakeets and your lovebirds and stuff like that. Those ones were easier to pick out, but like this one, I'm not really sure. It looks like almost like a conure kind of type, but I'm not sure. They just had a bunch of birds, and a lot of these birds were really tame from reputable breeders. um, I spoke to one gentleman. He came, I think it was a vendor. He came all the way from Bakersfield, so that was quite a drive. Here, oh, I really like these ones. They're the half moon conures. My dad actually has one for himself. Well, we typically like having these in the family. These were all babies, according to the vendor. And finally, this is to end the video, make it quick. I don't know what type of bird this was, but it was a really nice bird, pretty decently sized parrot. I think it's a parrot. Yeah, so that was it pretty much. Thank you so much. Take care. And new video coming up soon, so check it out.